In the dead of night, barely audible through the thin walls of my room, I would hear Sarah's voice. Soft, hushed, like she was trying to keep a secret. It wasn't just the whispering that bothered me. It was the fact that I couldn't recognize the voice responding to her. It wasn't Mike, her usual boyfriend. This voice was deeper, unfamiliar, and it sent a chill down my spine. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining things. I was new to the city after all, and still getting used to the strange sounds of my surroundings. Living in an apartment on Sycamore Street was supposed to be my fresh start. I'd left behind the chaos of my old life, hoping to settle into something quieter, more predictable. Emily and Sarah seemed like the perfect roommates. Normal, reliable, the kind of people you could trust, but things in this apartment were far from normal. Sarah had a boyfriend, Mike. I'd met him a few times, and he seemed nice enough, if not a little too present. He started coming over more and more, his heavy footsteps and booming laugh becoming an all-too-familiar part of my nights. But that wasn't what unsettled me. What truly gnawed at my nerves was when I realized it wasn't always Mike. There was someone else, someone I never saw, but whose presence I could feel. The whispers, the muffled laughter, the shadowy figure that passed my door late at night when I pretended to be asleep. It all pointed to something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I wasn't living in an apartment with two roommates. I was sharing this space with something more elusive. I started keeping track. At first, it was just innocent curiosity. I'd jot down when I heard Sarah's door open late at night, or when I noticed someone slip into the bathroom when I knew Mike wasn't around. But the more I observed, the more I began to feel like I was trapped in some twisted version of roommate roulette, never knowing who was going to show up next or what new face might greet me at the kitchen table in the morning. The breaking point came on a cold November night. I had just gotten home from work, exhausted and ready to collapse into bed. The apartment was dark, save for a faint light creeping out from under Sarah's door. I figured she and Mike were having one of their usual late-night movie marathons, so I went straight to my room. But just as I closed my door, I heard it, the laugh. It wasn't Mike's. I crept to my door, peeking through the small gap, and saw a tall figure slip down the hallway. Not Mike. Someone else. Someone I had never seen before. My heart raced. I wasn't scared exactly, but a part of me knew something was off. Who was this guy? And why was he here, sneaking around like he didn't want to be seen? The next morning, I casually asked Sarah about her night. She brushed it off, saying she'd spent the evening with Mike. But I knew what I had heard, and that wasn't Mike. That's when things started escalating. More unfamiliar faces, more late-night whispers, and more secrets hidden behind Sarah's closed door. And every time I asked, she would lie. I could see it in her eyes, the way her voice would falter ever so slightly before she covered it with a smile. She was hiding something, or someone, from us. Emily and I were getting restless. We had all agreed on house rules: no guests more than 3 nights a week, and no uninvited strangers. Yet here we were, living in a revolving door of unknown men, tiptoeing around the apartment like it wasn't our own. The more I watched, the more I realized Sarah was playing a game. A dangerous one. The stakes get higher. Sarah wasn't just casually dating, she had a system, a routine. First Mike, then another guy I started calling the Ghost, because he never stuck around long enough for us to get a good look at him. But then came Adam, the most frequent visitor of all. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a permanent smirk on his face, Adam showed up at the apartment like he owned the place. And just like that, things spiraled out of control. One night, I heard something that made my skin crawl. Sarah and Adam were arguing, their voices muffled but intense. I pressed my ear against the wall, straining to make out the words. "You need to stop showing up like this," Sarah hissed. "It's too risky." Risky? What was she talking about? Adam laughed, low and cold. You're the one who invited me, Sarah. Now you have to deal with it. I pulled away from the wall, my heart pounding in my chest. Something was seriously wrong. This wasn't just a roommate problem anymore. This was something deeper, something that made me question everything I thought I knew about Sarah. The confrontation Emily and I decided it was time for another house meeting. This time, we weren't just going to talk about the house rules. We were going to get answers. I waited until Sarah and Adam left for the evening before I called Emily into the kitchen. "We need to confront her," I said, flipping through the pages of my growing roommate roulette journal. "There's something going on, and I don't think it's safe to ignore it anymore." Emily, always the calm one, nodded. "I agree. But we have to be careful. We don't know what's really happening." The next morning, we cornered Sarah as she came out of her room, looking bleary-eyed and disheveled. I couldn't hold back any longer. "Sarah, we need to talk. Who are these guys you keep bringing over? This isn't what we agreed to, and it's starting to feel dangerous." For the first time, Sarah didn't have an excuse. She didn't even try to cover it up with one of her usual smiles. Instead, she looked at us both with an expression I couldn't quite place. Fear, maybe? Or guilt? "They're just friends," she muttered, but even she didn't sound convinced. "I didn't mean for it to get out of hand." That was all she said before retreating back to her room, leaving Emily and me standing there, stunned. A twist of fate. Over the next few days, things got quieter. Adam stopped showing up, and for a moment, I thought maybe we'd gotten through to Sarah. But then, on a cold Friday evening, I came home to find the apartment in disarray. Sarah's door was wide open, boxes were scattered everywhere, and Mike was sitting on the couch, looking irritated. "She's moving out," he said flatly, not even looking up from his phone. I stood there shocked. "What? Why?" Mike shrugged. "She didn't say, just packed up and left." And just like that, Sarah was gone, leaving behind more questions than answers. I had no idea where she went or why she left so suddenly, but something told me I didn't really want to know. The apartment was quiet after that. Too quiet. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we had narrowly escaped something darker than just a bad roommate situation. Epilogue. The secrets we keep. Months later, I still think about Sarah and the strange parade of men who passed through our apartment. I never found out the full story, but every now and then I hear rumors, whispers, just like the ones I used to hear late at night, about a girl who got herself caught up in something dangerous, something she couldn't control. And I wonder, had we been living with a ticking time bomb all along? The truth is, you never really know the people you live with, not until the game is over.